Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of DAX functions. In this particular tutorial, we will be talking about a few more functions that we can perform around our datasets. It may or may not include DAX functions, so let's see what we are going to do. We will start by importing the data and make sure the right data set has been imported for each and every set of functions. The issue is that for instructional purposes, we customize our data sets so that we can incorporate each and everything. But honestly, it's very difficult to incorporate all the functions into a data set. So for instructional purposes, we have made different sheets, and those sheets will be available along with these tutorials. So make sure you follow the directions, follow the description, and upload and import the right data set for your practice. So let's begin. This is a data set that has been made for the drill down function. So by drill down, we mean to decipher the layers of information that we have so that we can have more in-depth analysis whenever required. So we start up with the uppermost layer or the simplemost layer, and then we can drill down into the deeper layers of analysis. So let's begin. So here, let's start at the report view and drop down all the options that we have. Here, I want to make a bar chart with price and store. So this is the sum of price by store. In the legend, I would like to add store here. This is the legend area so that it can differentiate by color. Now you can see that if we click on one, the other two just blurs out so that you can focus on this highlighted one. But what if I want to drill further down and I want to show the breakdown of sales or revenue generated in terms of products? So what I will do, I will just select this and I will add product to this hierarchy beneath store. So not much difference is visible apart from the fact that you see more controls here, right? So it wasn't visible earlier. Let me just put it back and show you again. I removed that next hierarchy level and you see that the controls are removed from here. And if I add it again, so nothing much happens. However, you get a drill down effect. Now, why is it called drill down and why is the graph not changed? You can have these controls and see if I want to go back up. So I will drill up and will go to the upper level of hierarchy of that analysis hierarchy, and this would be presented by store. I have a couple of other options, and if I press on this drill down button, you know, it says it turns the drill down function on, and these two arrows entail that we will go to the next level in the hierarchy. So we will be only talking about the sales in terms of the price in terms of products in terms of these clustered bar charts. There are two options. One is that you only see it by the product. Here you are only seeing it by the product and rather than the store. And there is another option. We go back up and then we expand all the hierarchies. That means that we will also be seeing the store analysis along with the product level analysis. So you can see that Costco, Target, and Walmart, all three groups are visible, and then the analysis is broken down into product categories or products themselves. So here you can place this kind of visual in your dashboard, and once your audience asks for a more in-depth analysis, you can go for this drill down function. It kind of helps you to keep all your dashboard and your report intact, and you don't need to add multiple visuals at once, and you can add this drill down system to create multiple visuals all at one place. Let's take another example. I want to create a new chart, or maybe this way, and I want to create a chart with customer and units sold here. So I want to add customer to the legend so that we can differentiate the colors. So here we are. This is what we have created till now. Now if I want to add more depth to this analysis, what I can do, I can add customer and order ID to the y-axis. So here we already have customer, and I want to add the sum of order ID, or maybe just the order ID we have. So here I've added order ID, but nothing much has changed. Now if I want to drill down further, I can do this, and here you can see it's quite a messy graph because it's going by customer and by the number of units sold. And what I will do, I will just change it a bit. I will put the units sold on x-axis, on y-axis we have customer and order ID. The legend has customer. So here I have drilled down further in terms of the customers, and then the products, and then the number of units sold. So it depends what you want to project, how you want to project it, and it might be helpful in many cases and not at all in many other cases. So you have to make sure that you make the right use of the options available. Let's move on to a new set of functions called as conditional formatting. I would just open a new file here and close this one so that I can import another data set. This might take a minute. Alright, so let's get that data. We need an Excel workbook for conditional formatting tutorial, and let's load it. So we have three tables here: sales, customer information, and store. And now let's load the data into our data tab. Alright, so the data has been loaded, and we can have a look at the data in the table view. And here is your customer information. It contains address, customer, city, state, zip code. And then we have sales, which includes units, product ID. And then we have store, which was the third table we were working with. So conditional formatting is the same as we have been using in Excel. So it's very similar to Excel, and it allows you to take a table or a matrix within Power BI and use those cells to color code them and create gradients and different visualizations within the actual table. So it helps you take decisions in a more responsive manner, because you know that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So we don't need to get into the actual data, and we can get a view of it just by different colors and gradients. So let's jump over and start doing the actual work. Let's go back to our report view. Here we would like to select the product and price. Here we have the product ID, the product name, and the price associated with it. So we have created this table here, and now when we want to color code it, we have to go towards the price and right click over it. So you can see a tab of conditional formatting. Here we have the options of background color, font color, icons, and web URL. Let's start with background color. So this dialog box has popped up, and we have a lot of different options here to go over. And we will start with, so let's see what we can do. We have three options here. One is gradient, and you can see that we can start with the light color, whichever you want. So you can change the colors here, and we have selected a light color here, and it goes towards the highest value, which shows a darker color. or you can change the colors as well and they will be transitioning in a gradient. The other option is to set rules. In rules you can set the if-else condition. So if the value is this and this, you can create a conditional formatting for yourself, and then you can change the colors accordingly. The third case is the field value. We select a fixed field value. We don't really use it much, very rare that we use it. So what we do, we will go back to the gradient and we will set a gradient on price. Let's see where the price is. Here. So we'll set a gradient on price. We will keep it as count for now, and then I'll show you why is it not right to take a count. So we will keep lowest value as it is, right? And we will be increasing it to the darker value, and let's click OK. But what happened was that it counted all the values and it pretty much stays the same. I would like to change it again, and let's go back to the conditional formatting. Background color, and this is what we did. Now we will change the count to average, minimum, or maximum. I'll pick average this time, and let's see if it does make the change. And yes, it has. Average, minimum, and maximum would rarely make a big change. They would give the same idea, and that would be the actual value. So this is how we have created a gradient over here, and without even looking at the numbers, you can have a view that which one has the highest price, that is weatherproof jacket, and which one has the lowest price, which is the mask. So you can see that the gradient has helped you maybe decipher the data in a much more responsive manner. And let's take another example. Let's keep this visual selected and add units sold to it, and let's get units sold, and here we go, the units sold are added. If we click on this, right click on this units sold and check conditional formatting, you will see that another option has been added, which is known as data bars. Why is that so? Because price was a continuous number, and in a sum of units sold is an aggregate because it's a sum, right? So let's move. So let's select data bars here. A positive bar would be represented with, what would you like? I would go with more colors. I'll get, because positive thing is demonstrated well with green, and the negative bar would better be represented with red. So let's take it here. So now if I click OK, most of them would be green because there's not a negative representation here or a negative number. And if I want to sort it out, I can do this by just clicking on this title of the column, and here you can see that bars entail the quantity or the sum, and it represents the maximum and the minimum quantity that has been sold. And here you can see that the survival knife kit has been sold the most at this price. So you can see that apart from the color coding, it also gives us the bars, and the length of the bars or the width of the bars here represents the number of units sold. So we're trying to gradually transform it into a more visually comprehensible format. Although it doesn't make sense to apply more conditional formatting in one visual, but because I want to crunch everything in just this one tutorial, so I would go over it and kind of go overboard with this. I'll right click on it, I'll go to conditional formatting, and let's go to data bars, and no, let's change it and go to background color and use rules here. So the rules entail if the value is, let's say, greater than 0 and less than 200, for instance, The color would be, I'll keep something different, orange. And now we add a new rule. Because it was less than 200, I will keep greater than equal to 200 and less than 500. It should be, let's say, purple. It's getting messy, and I forgot to change percent to number here. So if you're going for the differences in terms of percentage, you have to keep a bracket of 0 to 100. If you're going with numbers, then you will select the number option here. So if I say OK, so it gets a bit messy. So you can see that the background color has actually changed, and over it we have these data bars. Although it is really not suggested or recommended by anyone to apply these many conditional formatting to options to one visual. It gets messy and it loses the point. But again, I need to crunch everything in right now. So we can play with it a bit more. Let's add icons to it. So the same rules, the same icons, whatever there was. And I would just change it to from person to number. It would be less than 200. Again, I would keep the same conditions. That would be a number. Number here, 500. And greater than equal to 200. I think it will work. And less than 500 and greater than equal to, there. I forgot to change the percent to number, so I'll click OK, and you can see the icons here as well. But please stick to one aspect of conditional formatting. I'm repeatedly trying to entail my point. Let's just take a quick example. So I'll see a table here, and I'll add to it product name. Along with product name, I'll have product ID, and then I'll have the price. Let's say the price, and we can have the units sold. We can have the production cost and the revenue as well. Now we want to check this revenue, right? So let's put conditional formatting on revenue, and if I come here, I would like to have a look at conditional formatting of revenue in terms of bars, but it is the option is not available because it's not actually a sum or an aggregate, so that it won't be able to make a data bar. What we can do, we can just change it to sum. That's just a change of how it handles the data. The values remain the same. So now if I right click on sum revenue, the conditional formatting has data bars. I'll just go with whatever options are here, and you can see that the data bars have been placed here, and if I wish, I can sort them in ascending or descending order, and by this I can know, okay, all right, the maximum revenue of my retail outlet is being produced by this jacket. So I didn't know earlier, and if I have thousands of products, it would be a very handy tool to take decisions in no time. So it's very important to know where to apply conditional formatting, how to apply it, where it would be feasible enough, and then it gives you a very pleasing effect in terms of the communication to the audience. Your audience would be able to understand the data in a much better way in a much shorter span of time. So these kind of formattings help you out in entailing your project in a more persuasive manner. You know that the audience, no matter if it is investors, customers, vendors, or your financial experts, they will be persuaded by the use of such visuals which help you communicate your point in a much more persuasive manner. So play around a bit, take different data sets, and try your hands on different options. There are plenty of options available in terms of visuals here. You can try your hands on different formatting options, and you will, again, I would say the same thing, you will start enjoying it once you get a hang of it. Thank you very much for now. I'll see you in the next tutorial.